channel.
Stay tuned for Sci-Fi Buzz, or I'll come visit you tonight.
They made the Deadite Warriors for Army of Darkness. Now they're hard at work on Friday the 13th, Part 9. They are the makeup wizards at KNB. The fans, cast, and crew recall their favorite moments on Quantum Leap, Hugo, Nebula. Harlan Ellison reflects on science fiction's highest honors. And meet Eric Radomski and Bruce Timm, the dynamic duo that brought Batman back to television.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
No, it's not Jason. It's just Mike Jarek. This is Sci-Fi Buzz. This is just my little homage to Jason. I'm feeling fine. Nothing wrong with me. Actually, this Friday the 13th motif is in honor of our first close-up today on Sci-Fi Buzz. The people over at KNB, fabulous makeup artists. Now, they're getting geared up for Friday the 13th, Part 9. Jason Goes to Hell. Have a nice trip. See you next sequel. Well, also, they've done other movies. In City Slickers, they did the birthing calf there. They also did the dead buffalo and Dances with Wolves. They're full of tricks at K&B.
Hi, welcome to K&B. Come on in.
Less than 5 years after banding together, the makeup effects wizards at K&B can boast of having contributed to classic scenes from films like Dances with Wolves, City Slickers, and Misery.
Makeup effects deals with anytime you're dealing with cosmetic, when you're seeing skin or you're seeing hair, things like that, where you have a creature or you have someone that has a prosthetic makeup on, like in The Elephant Man. Stuff like that. That's makeup effects. You're dealing with dummy animals, dummy bodies, prosthetics, creatures, animatronic, mechanical creatures.
Makeup effects artists are often the first ones brought onto a project once it goes into production. After all, their work will play a crucial role in the overall look of the film.
I like this ear better than this one simply because of the fact that it kind of goes along the side of the head. There's like less hair. It looks more evil.
So a lot of times when we go in and we talk to the director, we will storyboard sequences early on in the production, suggesting shots. This is the best way to shoot this. Then we take those storyboards and we show the art department. All right, we need this wall built, and it has to have a hole in it so we can operate our puppet. We have to talk to the wardrobe people and say we need 5 different versions of this shirt, so when the creature rips out of it, we can do take 2. So it's a pretty monumental job, because it's not just, we're not just sitting here doing whatever we want. La 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 la. Oh, this is fun here. You know, we have to execute it all the way through. So it's a pretty big deal.
Recent K&B projects include Army of Darkness, in which their Deadite Warriors played a crucial role, and the upcoming Friday the 13th, Part 9, Jason Goes to Hell. K&B partner Bob Kurtzman guarantees this version of the Jason tale is chock full of nasty, nifty effects.
Things are different in this film. They aren't just cut a guy's head off. We actually had creatures. After you cut the head off, something comes out. It's not just the head laying there.
Which brings us to an interesting point. What kind of person does it take to whip up these often grotesque creations?
I think a common misconception in the world is that effects guys are all really sick. People go, oh my God, that was really gross. He like picked up that heart and he bit into it. It's like, yeah, but it was a gelatin heart with like Welch's grape jelly stuck in it. It wasn't real. I mean, like, so a lot of times, and even with gross anatomy, which we did all the cadavers for, people go, oh, you guys are really sick. But it's an art form. I mean, for us, we look at it as it's a sculpture. It's a piece of urethane airbrushed and painted. We don't really look at things like it's a body, or because it's all fake.
Though K&B has had their hands in all types of movies, made on all types of budgets, they find the atmosphere on small budget sets is usually a lot of fun, whereas the set on big budget films is often much more serious.
Well, genre films tend to not take themselves so seriously, because they kind of say, well, it's a horror movie, we can have a little fun with it. You know, I remember when we were doing Dances with Wolves, it was, okay, put the buffalo over here, we're going to stake, we had a little stretcher, and we were carrying our buffalo all around. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that with bigger mainstream movies, there's a lot more money involved. We're talking, $30, $40 million films. Of course, there's more at stake.
But in the world of KNB, all projects are created equal. No matter what the budget, they want their makeup effects to generate a spirited audience response.
The most rewarding thing is being in a theater and hearing everyone go, "No, God, they're not going to do that really," and then bam, and they do it, and everyone freaks out, and we're sitting there going, ooh. That's a lot of fun, really a lot of fun.
Well, that's how they do special effects today, but check out this special effect from 60 years ago. And look who brought it in. This is yours, isn't it, Bob?
Yeah.
This is Bob Burns, special effects man and collector. Thanks for being with us today.
Hey, a pleasure.
Now, who is this?
This is King Kong.
No.
1933 King Kong.
After doing Sweatin' to the Oldies one too many times.
Well, he's done that. Jenny Craig does a lot for him.
Now, what did they put over King?
Well, they put sponge rubber, because foam rubber wasn't invented yet.
Yeah.
Sponge rubber, and then there was rabbit fur on top of it.
Oh.
Just regular old rabbit.
That's why it moves so quickly. How about this guy?
Could. Yeah, that's Mighty Joe Young, as a matter of fact. He's a little smaller, and he's considered, even today, the best armature ever designed, ever made. Mm-hmm. And he was sponge rubber also, and then he was covered with unborn calf.
Well, moving along from that, Bob, thank you for bringing that up. And thank you for coming in today for a little show and tell here on Sci-Fi Buzz. Class, did you learn something? Say thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Oh.
Just up the time stream, behind the scenes of Quantum Leap, and the fantasy art of Larry Dixon.
Sci-Fi Buzz is brought to you by Trident Sugarless Gum. Good for your teeth, great taste too. When you can't brush, chew Trident.
Chew on this. Every month, over 100 million of us go out for breakfast, and almost nobody brings a toothbrush. Now, chew on this. Great-tasting Trident actually helps fight cavities when you chew it after meals. So when you can't brush, chew on this. Trident. Chew on this. Nearly 7 out of 10 of us usually don't brush after lunch, especially lunches on the run. Now, chew on this. Great-tasting Trident actually helps fight cavities when you chew it after meals. So when you can't brush, chew on this. Trident.
Here on the set, when the lights come up and the camera starts to roll, there's no place to hide. And even one flake of dandruff, even one, can ruin it all. That's why I use Head & Shoulders. You know, it's even better than it was just a couple of years ago. Today's Head & Shoulders gets to 10 times more of the places dandruff starts. Put it to the test. Prove it to yourself. Head & Shoulders and Head & Shoulders 2-in-1. Because great hair can't have flakes.
You are watching Sci-Fi Buzz on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Success in life is the result of preparation and having the right tools. To become the person you've always wanted to be, select Nordic Flex Gold. You provide the effort, and Nordic Flex Gold provides the means to your personal success. You want to develop the poise, confidence, and energy that come from a strong, toned body. And just like these people, you can have that body in just 12 weeks with Nordic Flex Gold. Some people spend a lifetime wishing for a great body. Now with Nordic Flex Gold, you can unlock your potential in as little as 12 weeks. Nordic Flex Gold features linear motion and patented isokinetic resistance, providing results fast, up to 70% faster than with rubber band machines or even free weights. Now is the time to act. Great muscle tone, 3 times faster fat loss, increased energy, as well as poise and confidence can all be yours in just 12 weeks with Nordic Flex Gold. To order or for more information, call now.
If you were Sam Beckett, you could simply leap ahead 3 minutes and watch our behind-the-scenes story on Quantum Leap, but then you would miss our story on artist Larry Dixon. Here he is right here. His sketches fill the pages of Mercedes Lackey's novels, Winds of Change and Winds of Fate. Mercedes likes Larry's work. In fact, she's a big fan. In fact, she's a big fan of Larry's. So much so, they got married.
We caught up with fantasy artist Larry Dixon at a recent con. Seems Larry is hard at work on sketches for Overflight, his latest collaboration with best-selling fantasy author / wife, Mercedes Lackey.
25 illustrations that all lock together into a single poster image,
with a radial design like a stained glass window in the background.
Oh, that's good. That's very good.
Piece of cake, just takes a little bit extra planning.
Although he values his wife's input on projects, Dixon's style is decisively his own.
As far as the work goes, there is a softness of touch in a lot of it, and an accent on curves, curvilinear things, and it's very textural.
Dixon is not adverse to doing the cover art on a book, but he finds immense satisfaction in black and white interior illustrations. And that's a good thing, since he is colorblind.
One of the things about doing a cover is that you have to keep it to one image, even if you're doing a movie poster style cover. Whenever you're doing book illustration, you can do as many as 25, say, different parts of the story and give them each equal time. So that's something I really enjoy a lot.
A few years ago, Dixon and his wife began taking in and caring for injured birds of prey. Given his love of animals, it was inevitable the little house guests would eventually find their way into his work.
I use a lot of animal influences in the things that I do, and part of the wonder of being in science fiction and fantasy art is that you get to create these fabulous alien races, but those races have to come from somewhere, and it's best to just follow the example of what's already around.
That sense of familiarity is something that has brought a highly receptive audience to Dixon's art.
A lot of people tell me that the eyes in the different creatures that I do are so expressive and everything. Well, that's because I know that I'm showing this to a human audience. Therefore, if I portray human emotions the way they're shown on human faces in an animal face, then it conveys more to the viewer. It's easier for them to understand. It's sort of translating.
After years as a starving artist, Larry Dixon has successfully beaten the odds and is now, enviably, able to blend work and pleasure.
It's always been fun, but I've found that, my goodness, you can have even more fun when you're making a living at it. See, that way you can buy lots and lots of toys. Toys are good.
Hi there, this is Jeannie Weisky of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I highly recommend the Quintara Marathon by Jack L. Chalker. It's a wonderful blend of science fiction and fantasy. Once you start it, you won't be able to put it down.
Ask any leaper or fan of Quantum Leap why they love the show, and they might tell you it's because Sam Beckett leaps into some pretty wild bodies, or because the show's special effects are terrific, or both. But to truly understand the phenomenon, one must delve deep inside the leaper's mind. We took the dive at the show's recent Southern California convention.
Well, it's always funny when he leaps into a woman and has to deal with the heels, because I personally hate heels myself, and I know what he's going through.
I'm a beauty queen. Hey, did I ever tell you about the time I had a fling with a beauty queen? No, and I don't want to know.
Each week, Sam Beckett and his holographic pal, Al, find themselves in situations beyond the viewer's wildest imagination. That's a big part of the appeal, according to show creator Don Belisario.
They love to see Scott as a fish out of water. They love to see him leaping into someone with skills that he needs that he doesn't have. And how's he going to unravel it? How's he going to solve it? How's he going to do it? I mean, here he is. He's a pilot. He can't fly. What's he going to do?
I can't fly!
Entertaining viewers is a key to any show's success, but Quantum Leap's most stirring episodes are often those that confront serious social issues, like racism.
You're a black man in the South in 1955. Trust me, that is dangerous.
Personally, one of my favorites was that dealt with the Watts riots in Los Angeles. My daughter did not know what racism was. We had never been affected by it, but I wanted her to understand what this was about. And this episode came up. I sat her down. We talked about it afterwards. And it's also a great social tool for, I think, for families.
Co-executive producer and head writer Deborah Pratt, who also moonlights as the voice of Al's handling, Ziggy, believes the show hits viewers where it counts.
I think that the way the show is structured is to tell heart stories, to tell human stories. And the fact that it's laid into a science fiction format makes this possible more than anything. I think it just brings in a breed of people that you don't get in normal television.
Any program steeped in a science fiction format is inevitably going to require some special effects. Quantum Leap effects supervisor Roger Dorney was faced with the daunting task of creating television's first hologram.
The hologram was an original concept that Don had when he wrote the first script. The hologram is really the guts of the whole show.
And actor Dean Stockwell has played the role with gusto from the get-go.
Didn't you come out on Bonanza?
I feel like a pioneer, man. I feel like Magellan or somebody. It's really great.
But it ain't easy. Working with something that appears three-dimensional to the viewer, but must carry the characteristics of a laser image, keeps Roger and his effects team on their feet.
The odd things about Dean being a hologram are shadows. Now, in theory, he's in the future, and he is in a different lighting environment. He's in a different environment totally. There's no wind in this environment. He's standing in a room. So he goes out on a windy day, everybody's hair is blowing, and his is not supposed to blow. So it becomes, it's a whole little subsection of the whole show, is to what can Dean do?
Whether it's to see a time-traveling scientist in tights or a humorous hologram in his hand link, fans have found more than enough reasons to tune into Quantum Leap.
Sam, what are you gonna do with that pie, Sam? You wouldn't. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Harlan, Ellison, and Batman when the buzz reconnects.
Since the very beginning and far into the future, all the wondrous things man sees, experiences, and imagines, all the mysteries and miracles of modern science and technology, are what Omni magazine is all about. Omni, the new frontier, the multi-award-winning magazine of science fact and science fiction. Pick up Omni today, to keep and to pass down to your descendants. Omni, on sale everywhere.
Having a tough time with pork chops? Shake and Bake makes plump, juicy pork chops your whole family will love. Why fry? Shake and Bake.
Introducing Capio, iced cappuccino from Maxwell House. The rich, smooth taste of cappuccino, only cooler. Capio. The thrill is the chill.
If you've heard me talking about training for a new career through ICS before and wondered just how home study works, well, here's what happens. Once you enroll in one of these courses, you'll receive a series of training shipments like these. Inside, there are hands-on projects for you to complete. They're fun, and you go step by step. Plus, you get all the equipment and supplies you need. As you finish each project, the next one is mailed to you until you've finished your course and received your diploma or degree. Call now to get your personalized career pack on the course you're most interested in. Choose from high school, TV, VCR repair, computer programming, electrician, animal care specialist, auto mechanics, bookkeeping, legal assistant, interior decorating, drafting, hotel restaurant management, learning the personal computer, electronics, or get your degree. You can major in business management or accounting.
Call now for the free information Sally Struthers spoke about. Then decide if you want to train at home for a better career to make more money. Call 1-800-637-0200. There is absolutely no obligation. That's 1-800-637-0200.
Nothing makes a science fiction writer happier than a Hugo or a Nebula, unless it's that ever-elusive late royalty payment, maybe. Well, Harlan Ellison has 3 Nebulas and 8.5 Hugos under his belt. And this week on Harlan Ellison's Watching, Harlan is going to review some of those science fiction awards.
These are some of the major awards that are available to people in the science fiction and mystery fields. This is called the Hugo. Now, the Hugo is actually the oldest of the science fiction awards, and it's named after Hugo Gernsback, who was a very nice old gentleman who came over from, I believe, Switzerland, but I could be wrong, but somewhere near Switzerland. And he started Electrical Experimenter and radio magazines back in the 20s. And in 1926, he did the first science fiction magazine, Amazing Stories. And so it is named the Hugo for him. But it is, in fact, given by the World Science Fiction Convention. Now, here's a fact very few people know. This award was designed back in the very, very early 60s, I believe, or the late 50s, whatever it was, by a man named Ben Jason. Ben Jason. He still lives in Cleveland, Ohio. He's a very nice man. I think it's nice that his name is remembered. Now, you may wonder, why does this one have a little Jiminy Cricket on it? Well, because this is only a half award. I have won 8.5 Hugos. This half, it was originally given to the film A Boy and His Dog, which was based on my material. And I got so cranky about it, I said, hey, you gave it to the director. What about me? I wrote the damn thing. They said, okay, but we don't have any more of the rockets, which look like giant rectal suppositories. They said, we don't have one of those, but we do have this wonderful base, and we'll give you the base. And I said, and I'll take it. So that is my half Hugo. So in fact, for the record books, I've won 8.5 of those. This over here is the Nebula. Now, this was designed by the widow of James Blish, the great science fiction writer. Judith Blish designed this award originally. Now, come back this way. Don't be hesitant. Do follow. No one will hurt you. This thing that looks like you might have won it at a ring toss in a circus is actually the Edgar Allan Poe Award of the Mystery Writers of America. And it's kind of, it's a nice award. It's a wonderful award to win. I've won it twice, and I'm very pleased to have won it twice. But when I saw it, I said, gee, I mean, it doesn't really look as elegant as it really should for an award that important. So when the time came for me to design an award, as it did for the Horror Writers of America, I designed this, a wonderful little haunted mansion done by Steve Kirk. Now, Steve Kirk is the guy who designed the Abominable Snowman in the Matterhorn at Disneyland, among other things. We took it, and I put the award inside. Now, this one here, this is a nifty one. You'll like this one. This one was created for the World Fantasy Convention. This is the World Fantasy Award, and it was done by the famous cartoonist and artist and writer and novelist Gahan Wilson, whose cartoons you see in Playboy all the time. Gahan Wilson did this, and it is a bust of Howard Phillips Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft, done in the style of an Easter Island statue. Very mysterious, very strange, and quite lovely, quite wonderful. And this is the British Fantasy Award, very prestigious award, given in England. And this is the one that's given by the video cassette industry, the Vero Award. Now, I want you to understand something. Awards are only road signs. They're only mileposts to let other people know that you have hung on a number of years, long enough to get either an award or a gold watch or whatever it is. Until they give you the Nobel, you're still learning. I'm still learning.
Film noir meets Saturday morning animation on the new adventures of Batman when the buzz reconnects.
Hi, I'm Bob Uecker, and Burger King knew I was the absolute best person to introduce a new flame-broiled meatloaf sandwich. I love this place! McDonald's doesn't have it, Wendy's doesn't have it, I bet nobody else has it. It's a flame-broiled meatloaf patty with onions and ketchup. This sandwich could be even bigger than I was in baseball. Nah. There's only one Mr. Baseball. And there's only one flame-broiled meatloaf sandwich. Tell him I sent you, and you'll get it your way right away. I love this place.
Hey there, listen up. Education is money well spent, but refreshment is far more excellent. To fill me up with expectations, I got what I want, no imitations. School days! Ow. Just get on the what the doctor ordered. Just what the doctor ordered. Dr. Pepper, we want it all. Just what the doctor ordered. The taste of baby water. We love it. I love it. Everybody's loving it.
Here on the set, when the lights come up and the camera starts to roll, there's no place to hide. And even one flake of dandruff, even one, can ruin it all. That's why I use Head & Shoulders. You know, it's even better than it was just a couple of years ago. Today's Head & Shoulders gets to 10 times more of the places dandruff starts. Put it to the test. Prove it to yourself. Head & Shoulders and Head & Shoulders 2-in-1. Because great hair can't have flakes.
Reach beyond the solar system to 1,000 twinkling stars. It's the wonder and awe of real science and inside space.
Coming up next. You are watching Sci-Fi Buzz on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Double, double your refreshment. Double, double your enjoyment. Oh, no single gum, double fresh in your mouth. Like double mint gum. So double, double your refreshment. Double, double your delight. Oh, no single gum, double fresh in your mouth. Like double fresh, double good. Come on and double it. Double mint, double. him.
They walk among us to invade our bodies and our minds. Can Earth survive? War of the Worlds. Weeknights at 9, 6 Pacific.
Want to know what's coming up on the Sci-Fi Channel? Call 1-900-773-SFCS for a current schedule, including series episodes and movie descriptions. Call costs 95 cents per minute. Average call is 2 minutes.
We really tried to do the definitive version of Batman as far as, you know, taking all the classic elements from partly from the movie and a lot from the comics and even a little tiny bit from the old TV show, you know, in terms of like the wacky humor in some of the episodes, especially with the Joker and stuff.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Eric Radomski and Bruce Timm are two longtime comic book fans who just happen to be two of Warner Brothers' top animators, whose boss, executive producer Gene McCurdy, just happened to give them the assignment of a lifetime. Turn Batman into the richest, most dramatic cartoon since Max Fleischer's world-class animated Superman of the 1940s.
Well, our biggest inspiration is the comics. You know, we try to stay as faithful to the comics as possible. You know, a lot of people look at the series and they say, oh, well, it's obviously influenced by the movie. Well, we really weren't influenced by the movie. In fact, when we first started, when Eric and I were first offered the job, we told Gene, we said, well, we'll do this show, but not if you want us to make it a carbon copy of the movie, because it'll just look like a cheap rip-off, and we don't really necessarily want to do what's already been done.
What Eric and Bruce came up with is a film noir world populated by interesting, if somewhat eccentric people. Even given the limited animation the budgets of television require, some of the action is really breathtaking. One of Eric's favorites is a game of cat and bat played on the rooftops of Gotham.
It really is quite exciting, especially for me. Every time I see it, I kind of take a breath when she leaps off the building and you just reveal the city below and she just falls and doesn't even look back.
Catwoman is just one of the returning villains familiar from the former incarnations of Batman. There's the Joker, voiced by Star Wars' Mark Hamill.
Clean up your act, Joker.
Oh, that's a joke, right? Batman finally told a joke.
Well, we kind of play him as almost a manic, depressive, schizophrenic, which is something that was in the original Batman script that was changed by the time they got to the film, or a little bit changed once Jack Nicholson, you know, came on board.
You'll also see the Penguin, Mr. Freeze.
Freeze! That's Mr. Freeze to you.
The guys say some of the most fun, though, is working with elements of the Batman myth that haven't been explored before.
What was really fun about Batman was that a lot of the really best villains from the comics were never ever translated into another medium. You know, there was a character called Two-Face that goes way back in the comics to like the early 40s. It's one of the best Batman villains and was never ever done for the TV series or for the movies or whatever. As far as I know, he was never done in a cartoon before.
Why couldn't you save me?
Casting the voice of Batman was a particular challenge.
We had heard, you know, tons of people coming in and doing Clint Eastwood.
The part went to Kevin Conroy.
I heard gunfire.
Occupational hazard.
He did that voice, and everybody in the control room just kind of went, wow. Yeah, the women especially, you know, there was like two women there, and one of them was the voice director, Andrea Romano, and they were like going, wow, he's got a great, sexy voice.
Don't be silly. You can't deny there's something between us.
You're right. And I'm afraid it's the law.
The dynamic duo of Eric and Bruce is currently getting a 70-minute animated Batman movie ready for the home video market. And for now, they're just happy their version of Batman is meeting with such a warm welcome.
Look who's here, our resident bad boy producer, Dave Garrison. So what's next for Batman?
We know there were originally 65 episodes, of which 55 have aired several times.
Over and over and over.
That's right, but there are 10 episodes of Batman the Animated Series that have never aired, and those are coming up. Finally, we're going to get to see the origin of Batgirl, the return of Clayface, and there's a character named Ra's al Ghul from the comic books. It's never been done in the movies or on television. It's going to be done for the first time in Batman the Animated Series.
Well, Dave, thanks for that Bat update.
Welcome.
That's our show for this week. Now, make it a point this week to contact us here at Sci-Fi Buzz. Tell us what you want to see on the show at 213-851-7235. We're open 24 hours a day. See you next time.
Bye.